Okay, welcome to the Unseen Fist podcast. The art for this is gonna look hella ass, but I do not care. Welcome everyone. This is gonna be a podcast about VGC, and today we're gonna be talking about Portland. Say hello to the guest, the permanent guest, Connor Petrus. How do you say it?
Trzynski.
Petrozinski. And today's guest, because we couldn't find anyone else because it's the first episode, Matthew Hansen.
Hello.
Hey, okay.
Hello.
So, Regulation I has had like a billion tours already, and last weekend there was like how many regionals? Like two, three? Like, how many events?
There was 3 regionals, and then we had 1 ball league.
Okay, and out of those, half of them were won by Leech Seed Calyrex. What are you guys' opinions on Leech Seed Calyrex? Because it's like a weird mon, right? Because like you have like no matchup into Instant at all. And normally your plan to Zamazenta is to high horsepower, but Leech Seed you use it to gain health off the Zama sitting there. It's like it's weird. I feel like it only takes a good player pilot to be good. What are your guys' thoughts?
So here's my thing about Leech Seed Calyrex is, like, I feel like it's actually better into Zamazenta than regular high horsepower Calyrex.
I completely agree.
Just think about it. You're only doing what? Just think about it. Wait, you're only doing 30% high horsepower, and then you're
30,
taking
40?
like 40% back with body pressure units.
They're almost always
Like, you're
quick
just
in
gonna
wide
start losing
guard.
those damage traits really fast.
Yeah, and the thing about Leech Seed is
Nah,
that they spam
kind of
wide
depends
guard
on the
in front of you.
situation.
Because wide guard is usually the safe
Yeah.
option against Calyrex. He's like they don't chip you down that fast, but if they Leech Seed, then you're suddenly punished for playing super defensively. Because normally you play defensive to get around the trick room, but now you're just healing up the Calyrex. Is Matt the one messing up all the time? Maybe it's my internet. I don't know, man. Matt, you got any thoughts about Leech Seed Cali? Oh my fucking! Is this on my part? Am I the one disconnecting here?
Your mic is like freaking out.
Am I the one breaking out?
It's
Your
completely
mic, your
Okay.
mic is freaking
Yes,
out.
you are.
Okay, yeah. I know my internet was bad going into this. It says I have like 3 bars, all that on my PC, but I know it's bad. Okay, so anyways, this could be the most scuffed episode because my internet for the past week has been shut down. It's been shut down like all around my neighborhood. I have no clue why. And I don't know how to fix it, so anyways, Matt, thoughts about Leaf Seed Cali?
My opinion on it is like I don't really like it. Like I've never tried it before, but I just find it like really annoying to just like get rid of it because Shredder's just like insanely bulky, and it gets a recovery move in it being lead seed, and usually it should never be good, but it is, and like it makes like usually negative matchups like Zamazenta turn into somewhat positive matchups in my opinion. So since you can just stall out the body press spam. So yeah, I just find it really annoying to like stop.
Honestly, it makes Zamazenta
Something very
very
interesting
positive.
is whenever I see you guys know like Terapagos, like it has like a really high HP stat after it terastallizes.
Uh-huh.
The fact that Calyrex Ice can get 25% off of a single Leech Seed into a
Wait,
Terapagos after it terastallizes is actually just insane.
hold on. What? Like, is that real?
So yeah, it gets a citrus berry worth of recovery in 1 turn. Yes.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna need to test that later. Okay. Maybe Calyrex Leaf Seed Calyrex is the call. Maybe it just is. I don't know, man.
And like I feel like
I think we
and
cut
like think
out
about it,
again.
like
Yeah, you did.
now think about it with like Miraidon and stuff, with those being able to threaten such large KOs, it makes your opponent play very defensively, which makes Leech Seed such a good option.
And plus, Calyx is just so unbelievably tanky that
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even need to invest in attack since like Glacial Lance is only there to just like pick up like low HP Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like another
But Glacial
synergy.
Lance is still such a good move.
Yeah, you don't
Glacial
Yeah,
really
Lance is just
need
such a
anything
good
else in
move
most
that like
matchups.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
and plus,
also like it's coming off of a 165 base attack. Like if you're not going to be investing that much, it's still going to be doing a lot of damage.
yeah,
yeah. And the thing
and
about
plus,
Leech Seed is
like how
that
the
okay, this is why we should do test runs. Anyways,
yeah.
okay, so about the thing about Leech Seed and Glacial Lance is that they force these weird 50-50s. Where like, do you play defensive to get around the Glacial Lance? Do you play offensive to like mitigate Leech Seed recovery? It's just this weird synergy that adds bulk, but also adds extra pressure to the Glacial Lance as well. It's honestly really fascinating.
And also
Also,
create
another
the
interesting thing about Leech Seed is with the grass and ice pin. The only way for you to get around Leech Seed is to be like a grass type, but then you don't really want to be a grass type sitting in front of Glacial Lance, right?
Mm-hmm. Wait, does
and
Safety
also
So I feel
Goggles
like
how
harm
it's
a
like
Leech Seed?
no, it does not.
Okay, Instant is not safe either. Anyways, Matt, what were you gonna say for like
Yeah.
5 times?
yeah. I was also thinking of like so Tornadus can like I mean it runs taunts like most of the time. So like you could taunt it to like get rid of the leech seed, but then again you could just get Glacial Lance into Oblivion. So it causes that 50-50 mind game with like most Torn Ogre matchups in the Ice Rider because you can get like you can leech seed the Kyogre and just like stall it down, or you could just fire off a Glacial Lance and just like get rid of the Torn. It just
Yeah,
causes that big mind game that no one really likes.
yeah. Like as we saw at Portland, like
Yeah,
round 2, like what was Emilio Forbes got absolutely cooked because he just couldn't do anything into Leech Seed. He's like he'd play around the Leech Seed. Like game 1, he played around the Miraidon, and so Leech Seed ended up wearing him down so much. And then in game 2, he brought Ogerpon Cornerstone and Amoonguss to play around the Leech Seed. But then Miraidon came and he just got swept. So it's like specifically alongside Miraidon, it makes Leech Seed all the more threatening.
yeah, because being obviously the ice electric pen is obviously really really good.
But I mean,
But being able to say, hey, Miraidon's going to be doing, hey, Miraidon's going to be doing 100% to your entire team. Try playing defensive around it. Oh wait, now you're getting leech seeded, and now you just can't get rid of this Calyrex next to Iron Hands, Volcarona, and Grimmsnarl.
oh yeah, Iron Hand. Like I feel like
And
Alex Underhill's team like illustrates this perfectly because like there's so much they allow you to not really damage the Calyrex, so it keeps on like getting healing. Like you have screens, you have Fake Out, you have Rage Powder, and you have Flame Body. So many tools just to prevent damage.
I think the reason why this is seeing much more usage this regulation as opposed to this last regulation is the boom factor. Because we saw Elizabeth in the, I want to say the third GC.
Yeah,
I
third.
think it's
Actually, no, it was second. It was second.
The
oh,
third GC. Second GC. Run the Leech Seed Calyrex with the Dondozo, the Tatsugiri, the Tingler. And like, yes, that team did not see very much success. And I think the reason of that being is so slow, while this has the option to like go fast, which makes Leech Seed all the more dangerous.
Yeah, like just the duality of like Leech Seed mode, Miraidon mode is very scary. Like back in normally they build these teams around being defensive of all these stall pieces, but they don't do well because if your opponent can play around it, your team just doesn't do anything. So having these like extra modes and complexity to this team makes the Leech Seed so much harder to deal with, and that's why it's being so scary this format. Like I was on the bus to somewhere, right? I was playing some ladder, and I ran against a substitute Leech Seed Calyrex Ice. It didn't die because it set up a substitute, it set up Leech Seed, and it would just sit there, and I couldn't do anything to it. And I was like, oh my god, wait, is this thing actually good? Substitute isn't, but Leech Seed definitely is.
I also had one last thought about the Miraidon plus Ice Rider core. Usually, how to like stop with these like stall mounts with like leech seed. You want to put them like to sleep or like at least through like a very good status condition like on them, like poison or the aforementioned sleep again. But since you have Miraidon, electric terrain has a very annoying benefit of it not letting your Pokemon go to sleep. It kind of just stops Amoonguss from stopping Ice Rider from just spamming Leech Seed and just stalling its way to victory.
Actually, that is a very
Another
good
very
point.
interesting thing about Leech Seed is is how good Grimmsnarl is with it. Because Grimmsnarl, you can set up you can set up the reflecting light screen, mitigating damage even more. You get Thunder Wave, which should stop your opponent from moving, and then you also get Spirit Break to lower the special attack even more. So it's so hard. It's just impossible to get rid of this Ice Rider.
It's
Is
possible, but
the
it's
take
really
around Leech Seed.
difficult. Like, actually, I'm gonna go look up what Alex Underhill's doing right now because he's the only guy I know running Leech to Kalia at the moment. There's probably a few others, but okay. My internet is good. Alex Underhill, where is he?
I think
Alex
honestly,
Underhill is at 2-1.
2-1. Okay.
a good
Yeah,
counter
2-1. He's
or
playing
like
Shantae.
a theoretical way to counter a theater. Sorry, my AirPod just died. Hold on.
Okay, I'll give you a sec.
So a good theoretical way to like stop Weak Seed Ice Rider, in my opinion, could be Urshifu Dark, especially if the Ice Rider team does have screens, because like Terra Dark, Urshifu Dark, Wicked Blow is nothing to be like ignoring, because I think it does like 70% to Ice Rider when it terrestrializes. I could be wrong,
It's
but
a
like
lot.
that can just like delete most. Yeah, I know it does a lot. Like that just stops Leech Seed from like setting it up because like you can't just protect every other turn with it since
So
Urshifu is
yes,
unseen.
that's good in theory, but think about it. Like if you can't just be focusing on like the Leech Seed, you gotta think about like the partners as well. Urshifu Dark is not very good into Urshifu Rapid Strike,
Nor
Miraidon,
Iron
and Iron Hands,
Hands.
which these teams are very typically Iron Hands as well. Like
And
this is
Volcarona doesn't
very
help.
hard for Urshifu Dark to even break in.
Yeah, like Volcarona can also like
And like
Rage
Volcarona does
Powder.
a Wicked Blow.
Yeah. Which I feel like this Urshifu Dark Talk transitions into my next point. Or I guess it's not the next one, but it's on the list. Which is how do you beat screens? Because right now screens are absolutely dominating the format of Kali-I Miraidon, Miraidon Lunala, Cryoudon Lunala. Just screens everywhere. Everywhere you look, it's screens. So like, do you guys know any consistent strategies to beat screens that can maybe rise in usage?
So So the method that me and Charlie have been implementing a lot is like doing like fake out plus strong move, typically with like Ogre Pawn or Raging Bolt. Because what you're able to do with Raging Bolt plus Rillaboom, fake out plus Thunderbolt brings Grimmsnarl right around the 95%, and then Rillaboom can finish it off with a Grassy Glide, which I think is always very interesting. And then with Ogre Pawn, you can kind of ignore the Grimmsnarl, you go fake out Terrifier, Ivy Cudgel the other slot if they're not leading like Miraidon or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Also, another part I was gonna say, but this is like a direct screens counter, which is like very stupid. But like Connor was saying a while back that Brick Break Ogre Pawn, you
Let's
know?
go.
And then
Yo.
also another move that also like shatters screens, I believe that's what it says, is a Psychic Fangs, which is like it's a 90 base power move that like breaks screens. I don't it's not
It's
inaccurate. It's
85.
just a decent damaging move, but I don't think its distribution's the best. Oh, it's 85. I thought it was 90.
Yeah,
But
like
yeah,
the
its
Also,
distribution's probably the best. So
yeah, the only two mons I
a great
know
counter to
that
like screens.
you could continue.
Go
I
ahead,
only know one
Poppy.
mon that yeah, my bad.
Okay,
Yeah.
forgot what I was gonna say. Um,
Okay,
all right.
hold on. Let me do something quick. So I only know one mon that actually does get Psychic Fangs is Hisuian Arcanine. That's like the only mon that I think does get Psychic Fangs and also Ice Rider, but like who is running that on Ice Rider?
Oh,
Uh
back to I was about to say this earlier. A way you can beat screens is like yes, screens reduce damage, but they don't reduce like indirect damage. So Leech Seed Ice Rider, believe it or not, is a very good counter to screens.
wait, that is smart. It's like a screens team,
You're not
but
wrong
it's
about
also
that.
anti-screens. Like you get what I mean? Like on stream we
Yeah.
talked about this like rock paper scissors earlier with like the defensive teams, the balance, the offense. But now it's like it's not even rock paper scissors anymore because you beat the offensive teams and you beat other defensive teams. Just because Leech Seed Cali Ice in screens is so hard to break.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
will say something about the screens. We're we're assuming that the screen's mon is Grimmsnarl, correct?
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Like the only
Yeah,
other
I
one I
mean,
can
like
see
the other
usage is
screen set, like
Sableye.
I was a very big fan of Clef Key back in Regulation H
Yeah,
because
Jen.
Sneasler.
But yet again, it's Sableye.
but the issue with Sableye is like it just does not have the stats to keep up. Like
And the
it just
thing is that
drops
it's
to a D-Gleam, it
Sableye.
drops to a Volt Switch.
It drops to
Like
literally
it
Yeah.
just does
everything
not
in the
have the stats to
game.
be keeping up.
Yeah.
It can maybe take an Astral Barrage.
It can't with Life Orb.
No,
Oh my
it
god,
can't.
it cannot.
Yeah, it's bad. It's
So
bad.
there's
Well,
really
behind
only
Light
one.
Screen. So like with
Yeah,
your
behind
screen center, you want it to be at least be able to set off at least one screen plus another move.
Yeah,
So
like
it
like
also has to
Sableye
have
just can't do that.
enticing.
yeah, like you don't want it to die in one hit. You know, that's why Grimmsnarl is probably the best one because
Okay.
it has
Also,
some bulk.
what I was saying about the Grimmsnarl being the only thing, we also have to worry about like Thunderwave and stuff. Because I remember Alex saying in his stream interview, he said like we have like because like you have like with Thunderwave you only have you have permanent speed control, but like not like Trick Room or Tailwind or like Scary Face, which some people have been considering since the inaccuracy of Thunderwave could be volatile in some games. Um, Thunderwave is a permanent way to like control the speed since it's a status condition, and people don't usually run moves that specifically heal status conditions. So,
Mm-hmm. Actually, about Scary
and then plus
Face.
you always have that one attack.
So Scary Face might actually pick up in
Yeah.
usage because it helps a lot with opposing Miraidon mirrors. Because like you can't T-Wave a Miraidon. However, if you have Scary Face, you could suddenly like beat out other Miraidon with your own. Because you always win the speed ties. Because you know how important speed ties are this format.
Yeah. The 205 speed tier. So
Oh, the
That
205
is true.
is hell. Because literally all of Cryogon, Miraidon, Fluttermane, and Chanpao can Oko each other or bring each other to Sash. So it's like super volatile. Like most games are thrown into like a 50-50, even a 50-50-50. Same thing goes for like the 50 speed tier with Iron Hands, Ursaluna, Calyrex, Ice.
Ursaluna, Calyrex.
And then the 150s as well with Calyrex Shadow. Actually, it's just Calyrex Shadow, but since they're able to Oko both each other, it's like also extremely volatile. That's the thing about this format and why it's like I don't think people like it as much. It's just because speed tiers are horrible.
Alright, I'm gonna give myself a little. I'm gonna say a little bit of point about these screen teams and why they're so consistent. Is they don't have to play these speed ties. They really don't, because they're already getting bulked up
Live them.
so much by.
Like you can just live them. That's the thing. It's like a sponge.
Yeah, you live them, so you don't have to focus on like the speed ties, which makes it so much more consistent. Because if you're playing Calyrex Shadow and Zamazenta, there's a very high chance you face a speed tie within without like what 9 rounds of competition. Like you're gonna be fighting multiple speed ties, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're only gonna be winning those 50% of the time. Well, Miraidon and Ice Rider just say, "Hey, I don't have to play that. I'm just gonna be outplaying it."
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Like I feel like that's part of the reason why screens won't really fall off this format. Because like before the problem, at least my problem with screens was that if you get crit, they become inconsistent. However, now it's the opposite, where now they are the consistent because you don't have to play these 50-50s. You don't have to like, play around. You just have more options because you stick around for longer.
Also, something really good about Thunderwave plus these really bulky teams is if you can't move, you're not going to be getting out damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine like you're slower than them, you can't move, and they're just out bulking you, and now you're getting hit by Leech Seed, and now they're getting 25% back every turn.
Which
I
is
was
a
also
lot.
this is just a say to like prankster mons such as Control who still have 6 screens. I'm thinking of like Chen Pao as a good answer to it because like I think through a like you're always doing like 50% to it or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, a point that I don't think we talked about this was Emilio Force with his Brick Break Chempao.
Wait, it gets
Oh
brick
yeah,
break.
yeah, that's a, like yeah,
Hold
Yeah,
up.
it gets Brick
yeah,
Break.
it's Brick Break.
It also gets psychic fangs too, I think. Is
Yeah,
Chien-Pao
I
the
don't think
screens
Psychic
counter
Fangs
of
is
all
very good.
time? If just Psychic Fangs isn't good, is
No, the
because
thing is
it
was
can't hit Grimmsnarl. That's the thing. Oh wow, it
also
does
okay,
get
so it's
brick
if
really
you're
break.
only just a
running
break.
if you're running Ice, Dark, and Psychic, you know what mon you can't hit?
Zamazenta.
Incineroar.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
Incineroar too.
Yeah, so it's just like
So you're basically
yeah.
forced to run a fighting move if you are gonna run a fighting move. That is.
Yeah, like you
So
either
Well,
run fighting move
the
or
way
throat
Chien-Paos
chop.
used to get around it the way Chien-Paos used to get around it was like, hey, I'm gonna have a Zamazenta, so if you're gonna leave fighting weak Pokemon, it's just gonna body press you.
or you could just throw an Urshifu and just call it a day on your instant matchup.
No, the bulky
Ugh,
Oh, I
rocket,
would.
with
the bulky
Miraidons being
rocky
everywhere.
helmets beat the Urshifu just because like you take like what's 3/8 as a percentage? But yeah, you take that much in chip, and then suddenly your Urshifu dies to literally anything.
Yeah. And like if you're instant so it takes depending on your spread, you take 3 turns of Rocky Helmet chip or you take 4. If your Urshifu is taking 67% from a Incin's done its job, right?
Yeah, that's way above the job.
Yeah, because it's just done damage, not doing really anything.
I
Yeah.
disagree because it's doing damage over time, which is pretty useful into like just a lot of things. Like heavy slam Zama after Terapagos, throat chop Pow, stuff like that. It does help a lot.
Yeah.
I think we should move on from this screens debate, and I think we should move on to our next point, which was, I believe, like
What
what restricted
restricted cores
duo.
have the most potential?
Okay, give me one
I'll
sec.
start off first. I'll start off first.
I'm gonna
Swordfish.
go get some water, but you guys can talk while I'm getting water.
Okay, I'll start off first about the restricted duos. I'd say Swordfish. This is
Um,
mainly
you can go ahead.
okay. This is mainly because like it's just a very offensive duo, and they don't check each other's typing, but it can enable Pokemon such as like Urshifu and Tornadus to just go absolutely crazy. And plus, there's been a talk about Ruination Chen-Pao on these types of teams. This is mainly because of how like Ruination works and how it can like benefit Kyogre in some situations, such as let's say Ice Rider matchup, and um, you always do 50% with Ruination. This is if it lands, but you always do 50% with it with Ruination. They could just blow it up with a water spout, since nothing's stopping that unless if you miss Ruination.
Or
And
And
like
or water spout, trust.
yeah,
and then
yeah.
if you're running it with Zacian, if you're running Ruination Chien-Pao with Zacian, you actually can make an excuse for your Zacian to be slower than your Chien.
Oh my god, he's
Ooh.
breaking out. He's breaking out.
Connor, you're breaking.
Connor, you good, bro? You okay now? You okay now?
All right, am I back?
Okay,
I
go
back?
on. Go on.
You just died.
Okay, so whenever you run Ruination with Zacian, you can make your Zacian slower than your Chien-Pao, so you could go Ruination plus Play Rough into like a Calyrex Ice or any other restricted actually if you think about it. Also Lunala, that's a big one. I found out this one shot today. If you go Ruination plus Sword of Ruin, Terra Fairy Play Rough, you just get rid of Lunala turn 1, and not many Pokemon can just kill a Lunala with the double up inside of this regulation, especially through Shadow Shield.
Yeah.
And also, I was saying before, I mean, no, Connor, you said this before, but you said that Japan has like the most potential to figure out Swordfish. And there's actually a team that I'm really interested in for Swordfish, and it's from, I believe it's from Utrecht. It's like Torn Ogre, Chen-Pao, Zacian, Amoonguss, and then Urshifu. Those 6 are like, they synergize really well together, of course, but like you get your like it's a very offensive core, with Kyogre. I mean, the entire team's just really offensive. But you have the Amoonguss that can just like really screw over some opponents that they really expect the like Tornogre or Chenpao Zacian lead, but you actually just lead like let's say Amoonguss Urshifu or Amoonguss Kyogre, while they lead let's say what's a lead that really counters Tornogre?
Let's just say like Raging Bolt stuff. Like they lead like Raging Bolt.
Yeah, Raging Bolt.
Yeah, like they lead, right? Yeah, like they lead Raging Bolt plus I don't know
Because
Flutter
AV Bolt
Mane
is a
for some
really
reason.
good. Yeah, like
Check to
AV Bolt
Kyogre.
just in general is a really good check into Kyogre, and this is another reason why Zacian's so good with it. Is
It's because it
Zacian
beats
can just,
Raging Bolt.
hey, I'm just gonna play rough you, and if you Terra, that means now you become weak to Water Spout, right?
Not weak, but you
Yeah,
take
that's completely
neutral,
fair.
which neutral is just enough to Oko things.
Listen, if you're
Plus,
taking a neutral play rough plus a Water Spout, I don't think anything can live.
the only thing I know that can live is like
But yeah,
Terraform
that's my opinion on
Gastrodon. That's like
Swordfish.
the only thing I know. Like back in the GC, if you
Well,
guys
then Water
remember,
Spout isn't neutral, isn't it?
but you have Storm Drain.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's
But yeah,
like
that's like my opinion on Swordfish, or like our take on Swordfish. Honestly, like what's another duo that could really take off
I
in
feel
like
like
the future?
Crydon and Calyrex
All right.
Shadow have some room to like break out because they do like okay into screen stuff if they're able to get around the Grimmsnarl. So I feel like Crydon and CSR it could break out with like maybe a balance type with like a dark Calyrex with like
And there
Calm
you
Mind
go,
and
they
Nasty
break
Plot.
out too.
Wait, hold on. Was that Connor?
Yeah,
This podcast is fed, everybody.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay.
we're doing so bad right now with our podcast.
Okay, yeah. So
Right.
actually, it's actually not going that bad. We're actually keeping up like good conversations. You know, like besides the internet issues,
Yeah,
I'd say we're doing it pretty well. We're cooking, chat.
besides
We're
these
cooking.
garbage internet issues.
Yeah, I know. Both me and Connor were
Okay.
kind of getting cooked.
Alright.
Anyways,
So CSR Core, thoughts about like how
Yeah,
where it
my
is in the
Wi-Fi is.
metagame right now?
I feel like
yeah.
CSR Karai, I feel like it just needs to find like the right partners around it because I think it could
Didn't
make a very strong hyper offense team.
I remember like people were saying like like this is before the meta even began. I'm pretty sure this was like when Red G was like about to begin, like part two, of course. People were saying like, oh, Cali Shadow Korai could just go absolutely crazy because like you can just run like Sun Sai Spam team, like
Oh
let's say
yeah.
like Indeedee with like Tornadus, Fluttermane, etc. And but in actuality, like it's done very good in Limitless tours. But like right now, it is not doing very well at like the current regionals. So kind of
Yeah.
just like fell off, I guess, or it's just people have like just left it behind.
Okay. So
I feel
I
like
actually
the
have
issue
some
with those kind
really
of teams
deep.
is very weak.
Okay.
It's
Hold on.
very, very weak to like the
Screens
What, what's going
Murata.
it's
on?
very, very weak to like the Grimmsnarl or that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because like if you're getting up screens, that means your CSR is not going to be doing that much damage, especially if it's AV Murata with Snarl.
Mhm.
And then like you could just get outpaced by Ursaluna with like Lunala or just Calyrex Ice inside of the back with like an Iron Hands.
Yeah. Just because they have
Well,
like really strong
there
cores.
was a team. There was a team, I believe it was Koraidon plus Cali Shadow round two of Portland. Actually, destroy a Grimstone Maridon team. I forgot who the player was actually. But like there was like it had wheezing on it, and it just kind of stopped Grimmsnarl from like doing
Oh,
Grimmsnarl
you're talking
things.
about Route 3 with Zhejiang
Yeah,
and
Oh
and
Bezod,
yeah,
Balthazar?
Zhang versus
yeah.
Bezod. I definitely plan on having Bezod on the podcast if he does well. Okay.
Yeah, in my I feel like Zhi's team is so different than like the CSR hyper offense I was talking about because Weezing completely flips that matchup. Because that means Murado doesn't get the electric terrain up. Grimmsnarl can't effectively set screens. Like it's really is quite
I mean, yeah,
interesting.
like Grimps like the Weezing really just like stops like that team from really getting online and just like slowly winning the game.
Yeah.
Because like that team's win condition is practically the Strider. Or like the Marauder is just there to do like to send off like one Electro Drip just to allow your Ice Rider to just leech seed it to death. That's my opinion on that core.
Not really. I feel like it
Yeah,
just gives
if
like
Murata gets 2 Electro Drifts off, does
then it's probably over
like
because
Murata
Mm.
behind screens is cool.
it opens up the
Yeah,
Calyrex.
yeah. And behind screens, Miraidon is so bulky that it can regularly get 2 to even I've seen 5 Electro Drifts get off inside of one game with Miraidon.
When
That
were
team,
they
I'm just
playing
like, all right.
Pagos? Like what?
Yeah, it was Pagos, yeah,
Of course, but
and
Pagos isn't real.
of course, yeah. This is gonna be a take I was gonna have during this podcast. I think Terapagos is the most fraudulent restricted Pokemon across all of Scarlet and Violet, not just this region.
Actually, this
Um,
transitions into another point that I have on the document. Is Kyogre washed fraudulent? Which one of them is more fraudulent, Kyogre or Terapagos?
Terapagos. I don't think it's close.
Pagos definitely.
I am actually not
The reason
sure
why I'm
right
saying
now.
this is the issue with Pagos is it's so weak to Thunder Wave, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because what do you need? You need 3 Calm Minds to actually start doing damage. Your opponent's setting Light Screen, so now you need 4. And being not being able to move half the time, not being able to move a quarter of the time whenever games are going for 16 to 18 turns, um,
Mm.
is so terrible. That means you're not going to be moving 4 out of your 4 turns.
And like usually on Pagos teams, well nowadays there's like three offensive mons, but like let's take Oliver Ramsey's team from I believe Melbourne. I think it was
It
Pagos.
was TSR, Rock Pond, Amoonguss,
Ensign,
Rillaboom,
Rillaboom,
Ensign.
yeah, just standard stuff. But the
Yeah,
thing about this is,
there's really only like three offensive Pokemon. I
no,
don't
it's
know if I
two.
should count Rillaboom as your offensive mon since it's really there for Grassy Terrain and Fake Out.
No, it
But
isn't.
No,
I don't
Volbeam,
count.
Ogerpon can do. Good bit.
Yeah,
Oh
but
yeah,
even
Shadow
then,
Riders does not count. Also,
yeah, because it says Encore Disable. Like it's there
also
to be annoying, and then also pressure Astro Barrage. But like with how much it clicks Astro Barrage, which isn't that often, the only real offensive piece here is the Tropicos. So you're just putting all your eggs into the Tropicos basket, which I feel like is part of why the team isn't that good, or like, Pagos in general, is just because they don't. Like, if you lose Pagos, you lose the game. It's as simple as that.
yeah.
yeah,
Also,
because
there are
like
some matchups I don't want to say what I've been testing, but there's some matchups where you just can't bring the Pagos.
Mm-hmm.
Say for example, Joseph Ugarte screens that he just ran at Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
They just can't do anything because the Zamazenta is putting on too much pressure onto the Pagos, and your CSR, if you don't have the Pagos next to it, is not doing anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that's just my general take about these kind of teams.
the CSR also only has one attacking move on most of them, so it's hard to hit the Zama. You have to bait out a wide guard and then you disable, which is very inconsistent. Either that or you encore into wide guard and spam Earth Power, which isn't exactly the most consistent strategy to beat Zama because it's just a bunch of mind games. But those are mind games that the Zama player has more control in, just because they have another partner Pokemon next to it. So just Zama with screens or Miraidon, very hard for these Tropicos teams to deal with.
Yeah.
Okay, but while
And
listening,
I'm gonna give my take about Kyogre. I don't think it's being used properly right now. I think Kyogre's most success is gonna be on teams with Ice Rider, just due to the amount of unique pins that it can be forcing with ice and water. We saw this last regulation with those Urshifu Calyrex Ice teams that I know Charlie Kim used to get top 8 of the World Championships in seniors, and Shiliang top cut worlds with it. It's just being able to force those pins and then having a fast and a slow mode is just so good right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just because
Yeah,
like
honestly, like
okay, whatever. I'm
Whoa,
gonna
what is
continue.
this?
Okay, what you call it? They just have a bunch of. Oh wait, yeah, right. You guys can see my screens. Okay, so I was looking at Melbourne's results.
Yeah.
The best Kyogres right now are Kyogre with the Khan brothers, which they've been running this honestly pretty cool team with AV Calyrex Ice, Covert Cloak Kyogre, Ability Shield Pelipper, Scarf Urshifu, Standard Amoonguss, Standard Pal. Because I feel like both the restricteds have so much bulk on them, but they have. But my problem with this team is that their only longevity is Amoonguss. However, if they play it well, they can win like most matchups. These AV Calyrex Ice inside Rain is really bulky. Like it is actually crazy bulk. So
My main issue with this team, I've done some testing with it. It just feels so weak to like like the Louis Markle team, Lewis Markle, that he got finals of Utrecht with. Just
yeah.
the Instant and the Shadow Rider pins are just so hard to deal with that team.
yeah,
Because like your only
Um,
real way through them is Urshifu, but like that's so weak to like that gets so
the
weak to like the double
Rillaboom
Ogerpon
and yeah,
core, which is
Rillaboom
just
Amoonguss
the
like.
double Grassy Glide core.
Yeah, that's the thing about Urshifu this format. It's just like it has to succeed just because like screens are so popular right now, like normal types, ground types. However, there's so many tools in the format that it absolutely doesn't like Ogerpon, Rillaboom, Amoonguss, Koraidon, Miraidon. It's just forced into this really weird metagame position, you know? Because like yes, it's a top three
CSR,
mon, but
Lunala, like
Iron Hands as well. Iron Hands doesn't help.
no.
oh yeah, also I see a team with the not the team, but there's a slight issue with the Converter team. Uh, 3 Terra Grass, 3 Pokemon have Terra Grass. I don't think that's good, honestly, in my opinion, because like you really hate
The,
Amoonguss, yes, but like Glacial Lance? Question
Actually,
mark.
yeah,
this opens
like
you up a
this team is so
lot to
weak to ice pins.
yeah. Also, what you call Koraidon is the thing is if you're not able to get up rain, which to be fair, you probably are. But like, if they have a way around rain, like just killing your rain setters and then going ham with Koraidon, they don't got you don't have much in the way of beating Koraidon. Like you have you have 2 turns to do something with Pal if they don't Terra Fire, and that's about it.
And like
Yeah.
sometimes like relying on like manually switching in weather doesn't work. Cause say for example your opponent has Sunny Day Fluttermane, like this just gets absolutely torched by that.
Or
And you
Sunny
can't
Day
even set up
Torn.
Trick Room 2 since it's a self as Ice Rider.
Yeah, so you don't really have the speed control. Your only speed control is Icy Wind on Kyogre, which I think says enough.
In my opinion, that is very fraudulent. I'm gonna wait for you guys to talk about that, but I think that is terrible.
Okay, so it's
I
fraudulent
mean,
just
it's
because
not
you
really
can't
like,
hit Amoonguss. Like, yes, you have the Ice type suppressor, but at the same time, like, and also Icy Wind does not help you against Koraidon at all. You don't
or
force
you
it to.
still have
You don't force it
Yeah,
to
break
Terra.
that.
So if they're in
freaking
Sun, they
internet.
kill.
Oh my god.
Okay. They could, if they're
No.
Clam Koraidon, they just get around the Clear Amulet, and even if they don't Terra Fire, they still Oko your Calyrex, so your Kyogre just kind of sitting duck. Actually, that's the thing
Holy
about
moly,
Koraidon
the
with,
internet.
actually, no, not Kyogre with no speed control, is that it really is just a sitting duck, because it just takes a hit, which, granted, it takes it well, but now
It's
it
a
has to
sitting fish.
yeah, now it has to Origin Pulse or Thunder, which isn't that consistent at all. His Thunder doesn't do much damage unless it's super effective, and Origin Pulse can miss a lot.
Also, back to what I was saying about Sunny Day Fluttermane into like this kind of team. If they just lead Sunny Day Fluttermane with Koraidon, like Sunny Day plus close combat just KOs the Kyogre, and they just have no way around it,
Wait, does it actually
which
KO
I just think is
Kyogre? Hold on. I'm gonna put up the calc on my
yeah.
screen. Hold on.
With Life Orb,
Yeah, obviously
Life
Lorb,
Orb
yeah.
in Sun close combat
Yeah,
KOs
nobody's running Clam with
all
what you call
Kyogres.
it. Nobody runs Clam with what you call it CC. That's just not good. Okay, Kyogre. Let's just say Shilling Tang and Sun. it's a roll. A roll in the Cryogon's
And
favor,
that is
but still a
super
roll.
bulky Kyogre.
Yeah, that is really bulky
That is super
Kyogre.
bulky Kyogre, which you're not going to be seeing very much on these kind of teams, right?
Yeah, because they're bulkier, because you don't really like. They're both actually no, they're faster because you don't have the speed control necessary to keep your Kyogre in the game for long. So you just invest in speed, so it can at least do something. So now it's like opened up to like a Koraidon or a Raging Bolt. Like, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kyogre's fraudulent right
Um,
now. However, like I feel like eventually the way to run it can be found. I would test with it, but I hate Kyogre. Like, I hate playing Kyogre, so I'll leave Matt to do all the
wow.
testing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hate the way it
Okay.
plays. I hate the way it plays because you have to stay at
I
full
like.
Yeah.
I
health
really like
or
the way it
spam
plays.
Origin
Just
Pulse, which just isn't consistent at all. And then also having to fight the Weather Wars on top of keeping your Kyogre healthy. It's just way too much. It's just way too much to
well,
do
you're
when
usually gonna
Kyogre
win the
is like
weather.
sometimes.
You're usually gonna win
Sometimes.
the weather wars mainly because the only other weather mod, no, not Groudon, that you're gonna be playing against is Koraidon, and well, I could be wrong, but Kyogre, under speeds Koraidon. Could be wrong.
Also, something I would like to bring up here is I think Kyogre has to run Hydro Pump this format.
I
Because
agree. I agree.
if, say, for example, you're running you're running with like Calyrex Ice, Water Spout, Origin Pulse, Ice Beam set, like you just can't hit Zamazenta at all.
Yeah, Zamazenta is a real big
Yeah.
problem for this team. If you can't Surging Strikes the Zamazenta, you have like so many problems. And so
Zamazenta.
yeah,
Or like you
that's
can't even
why
like put it to sleep with like Amogus, like
because Miraidon.
yeah,
And
it's just
honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, like the what I've been testing with Amogus and Kyogre. Maybe I'm just not that really good with using Amogus, but I'm starting to think that Amogus, like with Kyogre, is not really that good in my opinion. Because I prefer like having an Ogerpon on the team rather than like an Amogus. Because like with Ogerpon, you can like stop more things, and plus when you lead that, you don't get clapped by Ice Rider with like your Amoonguss or something like that. I just like
yeah.
I just haven't been bringing Amoonguss plus Kyogre as lead or as the back 2 months that much in my testing.
It's just because it's way too passive
A
right
lot of
now,
the time, I
which
feel like
passive without bulk right now is like not what you want. So if you bring a Mungus, like if your opponent gets good positioning, it suddenly becomes a huge liability. Like, you get what I mean?
Yeah,
yeah.
I definitely did that.
And then like the way that whenever I bring Amogus, because remember I've not tested with Swordfish really yet. I've mostly been doing Horsefish. Um, the most what's wrong with Horsefish?
No, it's just no. It just sounds fun. It just sounds funny. I'm sorry.
it
Horsefish.
just sounds, it
Horsefish.
just sounds like another word. That sounds like another word. It just sounds like another word. God damn it.
Horsefish.
It sounds like
The
a
most
word.
So most of the time I used it to like support like the Calyrex inside of like the Miraidon matchup because like Calyrex being able to get so many Glacial Lances off, meaning like I can get these Pollen Puffs off, I can put stuff to like sleep with pins. It's just really good, but I don't think it has that good synergy with Kyogre itself.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of
Like, the
true.
types have offensive
And
synergy,
also,
but the
when
defensive synergy is not there.
and also I will say something about Swordfish. The main issue with Swordfish, well, one is definitely like the lack of bulk within them, but the main issue is the moves. So the two main moves you want to use on Swordfish are Play Rough and Origin Pulse / Hydro Pump on Kyogre. And well, they're both really they're helly, yes. They're both really inaccurate, and you're gonna be clicking them a lot. So that's what I've been thinking of. Like instead of like Play Rough on Zacian, well, yes, it's very strong. I've been like, why not I try out Sacred Sword or something like that? Because like with Sacred Sword, you can now hit like Pagos for good amount of damage.
In
While you do
Zamazenta.
weaken your Miraidon matchup, yeah, and Zamazenta. That's what I've been thinking was like Sacred Sword instead of
Actually,
Play
hold on.
Rough.
Hear me out
Like
here. Terra Fairy, Terra Blast on Zacian, because think about it. Most of the time when you're clicking
No,
Play Rough,
no.
a lot of the time you're Terra Fairy anyways.
Oh.
So you keep the accuracy. Like, yes, you're less powerful when you need to Terra to click it, but it just becomes a whole lot more consistent.
Okay, but like most of the time, yes, you do have most of the time you are Terra Fairing, but inside of those situations where you can't Terra Fairy, that puts you so much worse because then you just can't hit Miraidon.
Oh yeah, you are
You
right
just
about
have like a
that.
weird normal. You just have a random normal type move.
Oh yeah, and also just because
And I don't even think Sacred Sword does that much to Miraidon.
no, it doesn't.
So, yeah.
Like, let me calculate right now.
No, I want to
but
say it does like 60.
I doubt it reaches 60. Like, let's see. Standard
I
Mirai,
feel like
it does. Okay,
it probably
so
should too. Yeah.
if you're Jolly, it's a 91.8% chance to 2-ko.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's not even guaranteed. I'll post the
Yeah.
calc
Yeah,
on
it's
the.
that weak.
If you look at my screen, the calc's right here, and that's no bulk Miraidon. That's no bulk. That's not counting screens
Wow.
or instant. I almost said intimidate. So yeah,
It's
no, intimidate. Trust.
And also another move that's I think needed on Zacian is Substitute because it's just so strong on it, especially since like it doesn't really appreciate Amoonguss. Like it doesn't like going to sleep or like it doesn't since it's also faster than most of all restricteds except for Shadow Rider. Like you can like have like let's say like you can't protect in front of like Miraidon that doesn't have its move locked in yet, and you can't protect. You can go for sub to see what it will lock into, and so you can just like say, okay, let me counterplay that or something like that.
Yeah,
But like
sub also.
trying to find out what Terra it's gonna go for.
Mm-hmm. Also, thing about sub is that it gets around protect. So it's like if they play defensive, you could get up a free sub, and now like suddenly you're in a really good chance to win the game. And also, substitute also prevents intimidate, which is one of the main counterplays to Zacian. So I feel like that is definitely an option that can be seen on it. Though there's like it has too much move syndrome. Like you want Sacred Sword, you want Play Rough, you want sub, you want SD, and you obviously you want Protect. So
I don't
like
think I don't think SD is really that good on Zacian, honestly, because you're already doing so much damage with that one singular attack boost. You're already doing so much damage, and plus you're usually pairing it with like Kyogre, and well, Instant Kyogre might just be a one-sided matchup. I could be wrong, but
no Terra Grass, you fake
I
out,
just
parting
don't like.
shot, boom.
Terra Water.
And,
Terra Water Instant
well,
trust.
Thunder. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
It's
Thunder
not
it.
a terrible Terra.
Okay.
I feel like another. Wait, do you guys know this mechanic? It does substitute stop Leech Seed.
I
I should know, but I don't.
believe so. I think it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it should. It makes sense because like that's not the Pokemon. That's the freaking doll.
Yeah. Yeah, so that could be another like great use case for running a substitute on Zacian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
I think
and
I
then
think we've
okay.
kind of established this point. Do you guys want to head over to this next one?
Yes.
I feel like
Prediction
we should over
talk.
the next one because we been.
Yeah, prediction talk. What do you think is gonna win? What you call it, Portland? Like you could say like a player in whatever division. You could say like a team comp, a certain mon. Like, what do you guys think is gonna do well?
Oh, let's
I don't know
see.
very much about juniors, and I don't think you guys know very much about it either. So I'm going to start with
No.
seniors. For my pick, I'm going to have to go with my boy Charlie Kim, and I think Caesar Zama. I think is going to be winning this event. I feel like not a lot of seniors truly know how to play around it. So
Actually, round 4 went up. Round 4
I
went
and
up.
I feel
think
like it
Early.
creates.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
Guys,
it did.
view my
I saw.
screen so I could see the pairings. Okay. Zion versus Hudson is an interesting match. Stewart versus Ark. Marcus versus Ryu. Sorry, butchered that. Then the other players we care about, we don't know who they're playing against. So
Charlie Kim. His opponent Charles R. I played inside the win and in for Milwaukee.
do you know him from any other events?
I
I've
did
heard the
win.
name.
I beat him at Toronto as well.
I played him at Louisville. I played him at Louisville and I beat him too. So
Is he
he
good or
shouldn't be that
nah?
hard of an opponent. So
Okay, so
no,
Charlie's probably taking
no,
It is
definitely
a,
not.
it is going to be a CSR Zama. It's going to be a
and
CSR Zama mirror though, which is always
which is disgusting. Which reminds me,
yeah.
in my builder, which you call, I almost brought this to the GC. I had a drumroll please, imprison, grassy seed, max speed, Zama hero, to beat other Zama CSR.
Yeah. Woo!
Because the
What?
thing about it is that
It's so fire.
the thing about it is you imprison wide guard, so now they can't wide guard against your Calyrex Shadow, and then you're also really fast inside grassy terrain with a grassy seed, and you have Sword of Ruin. So it's body press, like +2 body press and Sword of Ruin. It 2-co's literally everything that isn't a ghost type. I feel like it could get a result
Hold
at
on,
an
let me check who's on.
event. Oh yeah, check the stream. Yeah.
Let me check. Oh, they're having Darsh Patel and
Ugh.
Terry are playing. I'm not sure if they're gonna put them on stream though.
Okay. Okay.
Yo.
Darsh Patel's
All right,
here.
back to what I was saying about
Okay. Yeah.
what I'm gonna be saying is gonna be winning inside of Masters. I'm gonna have to go with my goat Carry. I mean, yeah, he's just been super consistent this season, and CSR Zama is really strong right now. So I'm gonna go with CSR Zama winning inside Masters as well.
Wait, what's
Okay.
how do you spell their
For my
name?
prediction for the specific mon,
Uh, Carry
in
is
Masters,
Cary, and
Carry.
Diortona is
Okay.
D.
Oh, okay. They're playing Darsh.
Yeah.
Okay, back to what you were saying, Matt.
hmm Anyways, so my prediction for the specific mon, I don't know the player, but for the specific mon, I'm gonna say Grimmsnarl's probably gonna win because I mean it's just so good. That's the thing. It's just so good. Like nobody cannot win. That's the thing.
Whose PC is glitching
Yep.
out? Is it mine, or is it Connor's?
Yeah, it's yours.
Okay, yeah.
Mine's. I don't have a PC. I'm on my phone.
Okay, so it's definitely mine. Okay, so yeah, all Grimmsnarl streams. It's just the most consistent. So I feel like a majority of the events it can win. There's not much counterplay to it either. It's like you'd think Urshifu, but the Urshifus don't do well in Hermione at all. So that's not off the table, but
Or the
it's
Terra
not
Fairy
consistent.
Calyrex, or the Terra Water Calyrex.
Yeah, like they're not off the table. However, they're not the most consistent ways to beat it either. And so now you have to think, okay, maybe Brick Break? No, because there's ghost types, and then like if you're going through that much effort to remove the screens by doing no damage, they're just gonna deal all the damage back. So that's off the table too.
And like we saw this a great example with this at Milwaukee finals. We saw Andrew Ding just his opponent's taking like 15% to his Pokemon, and Andrew's doing 90% back. Like if you're trying so hard to like remove like these screens, the opposing Pokemon are still very offensive.
Yeah, so it's like they're bulky and they're offensive. Like it's a mix. So it's hard to counter both at the same time. Like I feel like the only way I can think of is like fast taunt wheezing with like an offensive partner. Like I feel like that could do well at the event, like something like James Evans was running. Something similar to that could have a breakout performance. But other than that, I don't know what else can do well because right now it's like kind of the screens format.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like what we've been saying about like running a specific move or maybe even Pokemon that can just like disregard screens like Brick Break and not we can't even say psychic things because dark type on Grimmsnarl. So really Brick Break is like I guess the best option if you don't want to deal with the screens, which not gonna lie, like thinking about it doesn't even sound that bad.
Hold on, let me go look
Yeah.
at. I'm looking at ways to clear screens. The only ways I know of right now is the Brick Break and then
There's a
what's
very
Mr.
funny
Rhymes
one
Mr.
that I've been
Rhymes'
wanting.
ability? What's Mr. Rhymes'
There's a
ability?
Mr. I don't
Screen
remember what
cleaner?
it's called, but he's not in too
Tangled
on about it.
feet, tangled feet.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
So yeah,
Um
I don't. Is Court Change in Gen 9?
Yeah,
Yes,
but it's
yes,
only allowed
Cinderace.
to Cinderace.
But it
Okay,
has
if you're relying
potential.
that hard to beat screens, and you just don't pull any screens, that could be just terrible.
Also, like, you kind of need the Sash on
We could see
Cinderace.
maybe, or maybe we could see court change on Smeargle.
Wait, hold on.
That wouldn't
Is
even be that bad.
is the writing fire? Hold on. I'm hearing you out on this one.
Is the writing fire?
Yes, yes. Absolute
This
cinema we
is.
got here.
I feel like. I feel like. Smeargle, I feel
No.
like, is so reliant on Spore, Follow Me, Wide Guard, Protector, Fake Out that I don't think it just has. I don't think it has the space to fit court change.
Yeah,
But it is a
also
very cool idea.
also just because it isn't as good this format because Miraidon is quite literally everywhere, so that's just kind of a big issue. Like Miraidon and Urshifu Rapid Strike at the same time, very hard to deal with. I honestly can't really think of too many ways to beat
Yeah.
screens. Like I feel like that is what's gonna dominate the next few tournaments. Like until Worlds,
Yeah.
I think screens is probably gonna win every single event. Or
I'm
at
not going to say
least
who's going to win every single event. I feel like a
actually
CSR Zamazenta player. I feel like he's going to steal
actually
at
yeah.
least one.
Actually, yeah, CSR Zamazenta, and then as we saw at Melbourne, I think there was a CSR Korai with Weezing that one. So I feel like those are the main three: CSR Zama, CSR Korai, Weezing, and then screens. Those are the big three right now, I would say.
So the big three is the big five. Big five restricted Pokemon are the 2 bikes, the 2 horses, and then Zamazenta.
Yeah, I really gotta update that tier list video. It is so outdated. I'm gonna look at it real quick, but I uploaded like first day of Reg H or Reg I,
And
but
there we go again.
yeah, I hate Reg H. Oh my god, my computer is breaking. Like on God, like it took me so long to load the videos. Okay, so if you look at the list here, okay, so it's a few things. Kyogre is definitely lower than Pagos at the moment. Groudon is not B tier. It is bad. Palkia is not B tier. It is bad. And then I feel like we could just move up like Korai and Lunala to S and Zama down to like high A, I'd say.
I feel like I think CSR, I think Cali I think is better than Lunala.
I
Actually,
think
yeah, I
I
agree.
think
I
Ice Rider
agree.
is like the best restricted right now. I think
Okay,
Ice Rider is
that
like the best restricted in my opinion right now.
it is Miraidon.
I
It
think
is
that no,
Miraidon.
Matt, the best restricted's Miraidon.
Yeah, it is. It is uncontested
It is
Miraidon.
Miraidon.
Like I don't think like I think
I think
there's
we
an
saw
S
the single
plus
highest usage of any restricted.
Pokemon
We saw the
sensation in
single highest
2022.
usage of any restricted Pokemon sensation at 2022.
Yeah, which
Like
is
it
How high was
is,
crazy.
Miraidon?
Like Miraidon
it
isn't even
is
like over
it is the
centralizing.
greatest Pokemon.
Yeah, like the thing is like
How
it has
was
so
Look at
much it
how much
can
was
do.
Miraidon?
Yeah, like it has so many
Miraidon was
good
at
partners.
53%. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, 53. My God, because they could volt switch, so
Yeah,
it
day 2 of
stays
Utrecht,
alive.
53.
It stays alive thanks to Volt Switch, but also outputs so much damage. But if you're AV, you also or screens, you have all the bulk as well. So I think it's the closest thing we have to a perfect Pokemon in this format.
Okay, so I unfortunately do have to leave, but it's been great. It's been great having me.
Okay, yeah, definitely see you in the next one because
So
you're
yeah,
gonna be my
Okay.
permanent partner for now. See ya, Connor.
cool.
Okay, so
Okay.
one last thing I do want to talk
Well,
about.
now it's just me and you basically.
Okay, one last thing I do want to talk about. There was a Giratina Origin and Top Cut of Melbourne. What are your thoughts about Giratina Origin?
What am I supposed to say about Giratina Origin?
Good point. Yeah,
If it works for him, it worked for him.
yeah. I feel like it's interesting
Also,
just
why is it
because.
Draco Meteor? Why is it a mixed attacker?
Because the team has no special attackers. But it can't be pure
Like
original.
what am I supposed to say?
But it can't be pure special
Why is
attack
it Stone
either.
Edge?
Because Entei is just kind of built
Why is it
different. That's
Stone
why.
Edge?
Entei is built diff. Also because of Incineroar.
And why is every single Chen Pal I'm seeing right now running Crunch?
Honestly, I think Throat Chop is just kind of better, just because like canceling out Parting Shot is so important right now. Like especially for Zamas and Pals, like they Terapagos and they're able to get off a Parting Shot, you're significantly weakened. So I feel like Crunch is just kind of worse right now. Like I get like the chance for a defense drop into a body press is lethal. But I feel like Throat Chop's just a more consistent option.
That's wait, is Throat Chop even a physical contact move? Because that could be really important.
Throat chop is.
I
I mean,
forgot if
yeah,
Throat Chop
you're
is a physical.
chopping. You are chopping at the neck. That is physical contact. If electro drift is physical
No,
contact,
but like no. Have you
then
seen the
throat chop
animation though?
is.
Have you seen the animation?
None of them make physical contact because the game
Have you seen
is
the animation?
baloney. Yeah, yeah, I've seen the animation. I've used throat chop pow before, but the game is like dog poop put into a microwave and mixed with baloney. So they can't animate anything. So yeah,
That's kind of real, honestly.
yeah, like
Um,
nothing touches
what
anyone
was the
unless you're
last?
collision course.
What was the last topic again that
It
we
was
were
just
going to discuss?
it was Pokemon Champions if you had time, but we already eclipsed an hour on our first episode, which is
Oh
crazy.
my
We
god!
I'm surprised we were
I
actually
feel
able to
like
keep
that
up good
is just a
conversation. Like I feel like that's
honestly. I feel like now. I feel like we should just end it here. Honestly,
yeah. We don't need the extra time because I feel like we just had like better chemistry than expected, honestly. So we're able to keep a conversation going. Like we talked about screens like for like half an hour, which says enough.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And then
definitely gonna
Swordfish for like 30 minutes.
not 30 minutes, but just like the talk of like like the meta game, like that went on for a while. So yeah, I'm honestly proud of how this went. I'm glad you're here. I feel like it would have went way different if I actually like just stick with Connor like I intended. Yeah, thank you for being here. You're cool. Not sure if I'm gonna have you on the next one. I feel like
Yay!
for the next one, I'm probably gonna invite Connor, of course, and then somebody who did well at Portland.
Probably Issa.
If
Issa.
I'm able to
Oh,
get in
not Issa.
contact with like a master that did well in Portland, because haha Twitter, then yeah, I feel like I'll be able to get them on there. Why is Ben Grismer 4-0 anyways? But if I can't get a good master, then a senior will be just fine, because this is mostly gonna be a seniors podcast anyways, just because I do not have the
Yeah.
connections. Because unless you're a good player in NorCal, I'm not connected to you at all if you're a master.
Honestly, kind of real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like now is just like a perfect time to like just end episode 1 of the podcast because like we
Mhm.
actually did so well.
Yeah. Thank
But
you,
yeah,
and Connor, if you're watching, thank you as well. And thank you all for watching. See you guys at the next one. I'm gonna need some lunch. I need to go get some tacos.